Gleb was a simple guy with an ordinary fate. He grew up in an orphanage, not knowing his relatives and friends, but he didn't grow stale, didn't become embittered against the whole world for all the hardships and deprivations that fell to his lot. Once, as a child, Gleb witnessed an accident. The person who suffered at that moment, of course, helped. An ambulance came. The man was given first aid and taken to the hospital. Everything ended well, but little Gleb could not take his eyes off the doctors. How quickly and smoothly they worked. It was just a miracle, and people in white coats were just magicians for him. So it seemed to the little boy. At that very moment, Gleb had already firmly decided what he would be when he grew up. He will be a doctor. He will be a saver of human lives. The boy carried his dream through his childhood and adolescence. He excelled in school, graduated with a medal, and entered medical school from the first time. During the years of study at the institute, the boy intensively comprehended all the subtleties of his future profession and then devoted many years to serving people. Gleb Andreevich was a first-class surgeon. During his career as a doctor, he saved so many lives that he has already lost count. He didn't lose a single patient. He didn't have, as doctors say, his own symmetry until this very day. Today a patient died on his operating table, and it wasn't just a patient, but a young beautiful girl also pregnant. Gleb Andreevich lost 2 lives at once. And this case completely knocked him out of his route. He realized that this case was very difficult. He and his team did everything possible and even more. But even all these explanations didn't comfort him. He became depressed. And if with time and with help of psychologists he still managed to cope with this state, he could no longer operate. His hands were shaking. He could not hold a scalpel, could not make a single incision. His hand had already lost its former hardness. The man realized that he could no longer perform operations because it could happen terrible. Many of such go off the rails, leave the profession and hurry to leave the rest of the time for themselves, and someone generally goes on a bender. But Gleb Andreevich couldn't give up everything. He was needed. People counted on him. Their lives depended on his firm hand, and there was no more firm hand. But there was no time to grieve or live his life either, so he made his choice for the second time, just as he had done when he was a child. I'm needed, so I'll be there. I'll cure myself by any means necessary. I'll return to my profession by all means. Gleb had to quit his job in order to undergo a full examination. He didn't tell anyone, even the examination was done in another city. 4 months went like that. Doctors couldn't do anything, the problem was in his head. And Gleb himself understood it perfectly well. He had to take a break. He closed himself off from everyone, disconnected the phone, otherwise a lot of things would have to be explained, and it's no use now. Gleb went to an old cottage on the shore of the lake, which he had once bought, hoping for a large family and children. He loved it here, especially in the mornings, when the sun was just emerging from behind the horizon and beginning to cast its pre-dawn rays. He decided that the solitude and nature would help him deal with the stress and get back to his routine. One day before sunset, without knowing why, he went for a walk deep into the woods. He just walked, thinking about nothing, listening to birds singing, the rustling of the trees, breathing in the smell of the grass. Yes, it's good to be with nature. You look around and realize that there will always be life here. It filled everything, from a blade of grass to the mighty century-old trees. A grey, wrinkled old woman was walking towards him. Gleb wondered where she had come from in the village, as he had never met her before, and how she could travel such a long distance at such an age. A basket full of healing herbs gave him an idea. It must be the same witch doctor they talk about in the village. He had even been advised to go to her for help, but Gleb didn't really believe in folk medicine. You save hundreds of lives, and you can cope with your own. You are a hero. Yeah, you are a hero. Who will save them all instead of you? Suddenly spoke the old woman, evidently addressing Gleb. I know you won't ask for help, so I'll help you myself. And the old woman looked intently at the man. He wondered how the old woman knew everything about him, how she had so much knowledge about him, but he listened to her as if mesmerized. But I'm not the only one like this. There are many doctors, nothing will change with me living. Hospitals continue to work, Gleb said sadly. Come with me, there is a first task for you on your way back to a new life. Gleb was surprised but followed the old woman. In the forest hut of the old witch doctor, it was warm and cozy, smelling of herbs. On a bed in the corner sat a small grey wolf cub. Here, said the old herbalist, I found a friend for you. And she pointed her finger at the wolf cub. Take him to you, heal him a little. He is wounded. He will serve you faithfully. His name is Zveroboy. And that's all? The man was surprised, but he still took the wolf cub. For now, yes. Time will put everything in its place, said the old woman enigmatically. So Zveroboy settled in the house of Gleb Andreevich. Why didn't I think of making a friend before, he thought. In the care of a small sick animal, time ran even faster. Gleb became very attached to his pet. The wolf answered him in the same way. It grew very quickly and soon turned into a beautiful, healthy animal, selflessly devoted to his master. He often went to the forest to admire nature, breathe fresh air and enjoy life. Once Zveroboy ran away from his master and didn't appear for a long time. Gleb shouted, calling his friend, but he came out to his master only after 1 hour, carefully carrying something in his teeth. The little fox needed an urgent operation, and Gleb had nothing left but to start saving the poor animal. At home, he laid out all the medical instruments he had in stock and set to work. At first, his hands trembled a little, but soon his confidence returned, and he was able to successfully complete the operation. From that time on, periodically Zveroboy would bring his master a wounded animal from the forest, and the doctor would do whatever was necessary to save it. Now Gleb realized how the old herbalist had helped him to find himself again. She gave him a friend, and the friend gave him back his faith in himself. A few days passed in reflection, and soon Gleb Andreevich returned to work. On the first day, patients were brought in after the accident. Only a complex operation, and then perhaps they will be saved. Gleb Andreevich's hand was firm. He did everything as it should be done. 3 people found a second chance at life. At this moment, the surgeon was happy. As soon as he left the operation room, he sank down on a chair and cried while no one saw him. That same day, the man returned home to the village. He hugged the wolf, smiled and said, "Thank you, Zveroboy, so we will live." Dear viewers, if you liked this video, then give us a like and subscribe to our channel. See you later.